Hey guys, in today's video we will be covering about the data weave for arrays. So there are many functions available within this DW core array. So we will be going through all of them. So stay tuned. Let me adjust my uh, configuration window, and I have simply put down one transformer in the canvas, and I will be covering some of the functions over here. There is some sample set of data which I have already configured. Like there is an array of numbers 1 to 6. There is a variable names which is having 6 names in it. Along with that, there is a key value pair with the name and the last name as under users, customers having ID and the name, and similar there is a product which is owner ID 1234 and name as the different subjects. There is a we will try to correlate different things here and there. So let's go through the different functions offered by DW core arrays. So in order to start it first, you have to make sure you have imported this particular uh, package, that is DW core and arrays. Okay, and now we will start with it. The first one function which we are going to discuss is count by. Count by will make a count based on a particular condition. So here we are taking the ARR, like this particular variable, as an input. It is having 6 elements, 6 numbers, 1 to 6, and we are just making a count of those numbers in which when it is being divided by 2, the result or remainder is 0. Okay, so I can find 2, 4, and 6. Hence, 3 numbers are there, and hence it is being counted as 3. You can have multiple combination. You can use the different string formats, like starts with a particular letter or particular string for a given use case. So this was about count by. Let's go with divide by. Divide by, as the name suggests, it will divide the entire available array into the multiple parts. So let's say divide by 2. So ARR, this is being divided in 2 parts, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here you can see like this. But have you noticed one thing? It is count 6 even number I am dividing with 2, and it is resulting me the even numbers, like 2 elements in each part. What about 3? 3 is also, like 6 is a divisible by 3, right? So again it will divide into 2 halves, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. But what if we are having a higher number, like let's say 4? So what it will do, it will make a first count up to 4 and then 5 and 6, like this you can see here. Okay, so this was about divide by. The next thing is drop. So drop, as it means, like we are going to skip some of the field values. So drop names, and I am trying to drop 2 elements. Okay, so if I go to the names, 1, 2 are being dropped. After that, the rest of the things are being given as a output. Okay, the next one is the drop while. So I have given a very brief documentation as well on top of it. So the object module has a new function that iterates over and ignores the items in an array until the specified condition is fulfilled. Okay, so I am using ARR again. ARR is having 1 to 6 as numbers, and just let me adjust it. So what it will do, it will try to drop all the things until the number is less than 4. After that, it will pick up the rest of the things. So here the main motive is to drop the things, is to cut out the things. So that's why you can see um, 4, 5, 6 is being mentioned in the drop while output. Now in drop we have cut down some of the part, and remaining thing we have taken, but there is an opposite to that, like that function is known as take. So for names, I am using take and I am putting 2. So what it will do, it will first pick the top 2 out of it. that is the first two names it has picked up. So you can see over here, right? Just opposite to the drop while, we are having take while as well. So if you see the output of take while, it is now taking 1, 2, and 3. Whereas in drop while, it was taking 4, 5, and 6, just opposite of the drop function. Now the next one is index based functions. We are using two, index of and index where. Quite similar but with a twist. Index of, let me go to the names. Okay, so here index of, it is taking, let me adjust this as well. Index of, it is trying to check for the this particular string. Okay, and it is coming up at 0th position, 1st position, so it is taking as first index. Okay, now the next is index where, so it will give the index where a particular condition is being matched. So it is a lambda function and it is checking the item, it is taking the iteration on names, it is checking whether there is a item which starts with this particular value, that is k and I. So we can see the fifth element, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So fifth position, it is having ki starting with, so it is marked as fifth. So this was about the index where. Now the next thing is about partition. Partition, what it will do, it will divide the payload or divide the array set into the two parts. One will be successful and another will be counted as failure. For example, array which is a 1 to 6 array elements in it, we are going to use a lambda function in which we are checking if the item is even. If it is even, it is a success, otherwise it will be counted as failure. So 2, 4, and 6 are the even numbers, 1, 3, 5 are failure, reason being these are odd. Next one is split. So what it is going to do, it is going to divide the array into two parts, L and R. I will call it left and right. So split at 1 and it is using names. So if we go to names, split at this particular level, so it will create two parts. One will be containing this and the rest of the things will be in the second part. So here you can see the first one is in the L and the rest of the things in the R part. So this was about split at. Now similarly, we can also put some condition where a condition is being matched, like if it starts with AY, then drop it at that level. Okay, so it checked for the first two elements and the third element Y starting with A and Y. So it break it down at there itself and put it down in the second part of it, that is under R. Now the next function is slice. Slice is like we are just putting or cutting down a particular array based on the positions. Okay, so important thing to note it down is like here are two indexes 4 and 1. So 4 minus 1, that is 3. So overall 3 elements will be taken as an output of this particular function. So ARR is having 1 to 6 as the digits. When we put 1 and 4 as arguments, so it will slice it down with 2 till 4 index. Okay, so that's how the slice works. The next one is about first with. Okay, so first with uses the combination of lambda function in which we used to pass a list along with the index. So what it is going to do within the user's payload, it is checking for a particular user on an index whether the user name matches with this particular string. If it matches, then it will return back the entire user payload again, for which this condition is getting matched. So if I show you the users, it is matching with this and the last name should be this. And here you can see in A and B, it is in A it is coming up like that. Similarly, we can check for the other second element as well, for which it checks for the second last name. So it matches with this one and it gives the very first instance of the same occurrence. Okay. So this was about first with. First with means the first occurrence on which this condition is fulfilled. Okay. Now the next one is about join, that is join, left join and outer join. Join, it returns an array of all the left items merged by ID with any right items that exist. So what does it mean? We are having two arrays as you can see, okay, customers and owner ID. IDs 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 5 and the names are there of the customer. And in products 1, 1, 3 and 4 with different subject names altogether. Okay, so we are trying to join them based on the ID. So how the join is working? It is tagging the customer one ID, that is this customer is being matched with the first ID of the product. Similarly, we are having the one more component with the same owner ID. So this particular owner, this particular ID is owner for this subject as well. So one and one, two subjects are being covered. Now it covers all the user base first, okay, for which the condition is getting matched. Now for the third user, ID3, ID3, there is a match for commerce, okay, so it is printing like that. But for fifth ID of customers, there is no fifth owner ID, so that's why it is skipping. And similarly, we are able to see 1 and 3. Two basically for this particular user and for this particular user, uh, these three are getting meshed, correct? 1, 1 and 3 subjects are getting meshed. So same is being shown over here. That is 1, 1, 1, 1, 3. Now let's talk about the left join. Left join returns an array all of the left items merged with an ID with any right items that meet the joining criteria. So just to give you an example again, yeah, till here. So it will make sure all the customer details are being copied, either they are matching or not, but only those details from product will be taken for which there is a match. What I mean to say, in left join, I am having ID1, so ID1 is matching. ID1 with ID1 matches, but there is no subject to. But this left join will make sure all the right items, right means the customer details, all those are being copied. Okay, so here you can see the 2 is coming up, but there is no R to it. That is L and R combination. R is missing here because we don't have any subject ID. Similarly, for uh, for the fifth user ID or the customer ID, we don't have R part. Whereas for 3, we are having a R part, reason being the left and the right are matching on the basis of ID, ID3. Similarly, just basically to say the opposite of it, if we want to include all the products, okay, so we have to use the outer join. So don't get confused with the left join, so assuming like there will be right join. No, there is a outer join. We used to call it outer join. So how it is going to work? Anything which is matching, that will be present, okay. If it is not matching, then also it will be present, but it will make sure all the other the product related details are also being present. So in other words, what I mean to say, it returns the right items that are not present in the left. So rocket science was not matching because we don't have any 4 ID available in the L part of the array. Okay, but it will copy paste or it will return this R as owner ID for 4 as well. So this is the only difference. If we want to have the outer join, it will return us the non-matching condition of products as well. If we want to make sure only the user details are being copied, then we can go for left join. And if we want only the result set which is matching the condition, use the join. So this was about the left joins, and now there is a concept of sum and every. Okay, let me uh, show the preview. Okay, so there are two different things. One is every, the other one is sum. Exactly opposite. So just try to understand the one. The other one you can infer like what is the expected output. So every returns true if every element in the array matches a condition. The function stops the iteration after the first negative evaluation of the element in the array. So what does it mean? We are using every when within the result I am going to print it out. There is an array of 111. We are checking for every element. Check if the value is equal to 1. It will say true. It is a 1 and it is checking. It is 1. Yes, it is a true. So here you can see the OK is true. Now check the next part in which we are checking if it is being divided by 2 and it returns 1 as the output, then it should stop at 2 equal to something like this. Okay, so what basically it is doing, it checks for each and every element and divided by 2, and it checks is it giving me as remainder 1. So in the case of this particular number 2, when 2 is divided by 2, the remainder is 0. So once a negative evaluation is being occurred, function stops working further. Similarly, for $equal to 1, it stops here and returns false. Over here, what it does, it checks if there is any one, all are 1 or not. So there is a 0 and it errors out as false. And here as well, it checks for every element. Is it it checks whether every element is equal to 1. No, 2 and 3 are different, right? So it stops and gives false. Okay, so this was about the every part of it. Now if we consider just the opposite of it, what it will do, it will return true if at least one element in the array matches the specified condition, or it stops the iterating after the first element that matches the condition is found. So in other words, what I mean to say, if the condition is getting matched even for one element, it will return true. So 2 is there, divided by 2 is equal to 0. Yes, it's a true. 1, 2, 3, next number divided by 2 equal to 0. Yes, true, because we are having 2 in it. Divided by 2, return 1. So we are having element 3. So that's why it is giving us true. Similarly, is there any 2 available? Yes, that's why it is true. Again, 1, 2, 3 checks for if there is one element matching with 1. Yes, that's why it is true. Sum, it is checking if one of the element in this particular array is 1. Yes, it is true. Single element equal to 1. Yes, that's why it is true. Now, the negative part of it. Is there an element which matches 100? No, not even a single one. So that's why it is a false. Similarly, it is an array containing element 1. It checks whether it is equal to 2. No. So that's why it is a false. What if I put 100, you can see it changed to true. So basically here it checks for each and every element, and here it checks for only a single element check. So these are the all different functions available under DW core arrays. I hope you like this video and it helped you out to understand the different functions which are being provided by DW 2.3.0. And thanks for watching and have a great day ahead. Thank you.